So with our lovely Miss Sugar, ready? Nice, good check-in. We're gonna warm up a little bit with sort of getting her excited and then trying to come back from that excitement or arousal. So remember that when you're dealing with any dog, from puppy to teenager to adult, you are at times going to be dealing with moments where when they get overwhelmed or overly exuberant, sometimes displacement behaviors can happen, which for a lot of dogs, it tends to be jumpy type behaviors and as well sometimes mouthing. If you're finding that it's happening a lot, what I do find is the culprit tends to be the dog is not getting enough rest throughout the day. Remember that puppies and even adult dogs require a good chunk of rest to make sure that they can be functional for their everyday routine. So adult dogs need about 16, some even 18 hours of sleep. For puppies under the year to a year and a half, they might still need more 18 to 20 hours of rest in a 24-hour period. Of course, every dog and puppy is an individual and their needs or likes may vary. But remember that if rest is not given as readily and your babe is bouncing back and forth between the novel or distracting things going on in the home, you may be finding that come the middle of the day or especially in the evening, you have quite the bewitching hour on your hands. So if you're finding you're getting frustrated or overwhelmed or your puppy is constantly failing, try to think, what would I rather have my dog do versus the original skill they may be offering. Try to, again, also view behavior as not right or wrong or good or bad, but instead just communication. So if Miss S is sometimes, again, giving you a hard time, she's having a hard time. So one of my favorite exercises is obviously through play. This can be a great way to practice, like with a toy or an item that she can grab. But at times I also like to work this with, and right now I'm just doing find its just to keep her busy as I'm blabbing. But another great way to rock this is to practice sometimes on purpose, revving the engine and then practicing putting the brakes on or slowing down. So if the only time our dogs or puppies start to slow down is when they're running out of fuel, it doesn't mean they actually worked on settling, coming back from that excitement or taking little breaks throughout the arousal state. So I do like to at times warm up with some of these lovely find its, get them in the groove, help them see that working this is maybe easier than doing the previous skill or has more, again, reinforcement from their perspective to give it a try. And then we're going to go into some of this other practice. And I've done this a little bit before. So I like to have a couple snacks ready and there's just some banging going on. So right here, we go, yes, and feed for that noise. So every once in a while, there's going to be distractions from the environment, which is great anyway for practice sake. So right here, there's some banging. I might go, yes, and then feed a scatter moment for some food. So remember, you can't feed or praise for a response that is natural to fear or anxiety or sort of a survival moment. So if your pup is nervous and they find comfort in coming into your space or moving into you or even getting affection, that's, again, like a small little human child that maybe falls or gets an injury and you're going there to comfort, pick them up, snuggle them. You're not giving them attention for the crying or for being overwhelmed. You're actually trying to, again, soothe and bring them back to feeling safe and comfortable. So right here, she's hearing some good noises. Sugar, yes. We'll also work a little bit with that lovely name recognition, feed a couple little bonus bits for doing a nice job coming to visit. But then I want to try a little bit with this game, see if I can get her a little excited and then do find its and see how she feels. My little one's on the other side still playing. So she every once in a while just starts talking about something and I don't always know what. So ready? So again, I like to, for example, in the beginning, ready? Sugar, get her a little excited. Oh, what a good girl. And then right into a little find it. So if for right now, I know she's been here for a couple hours, so we've been practicing, taking little breaks. So if she's not going into it with the most exuberant sort of wild woman moment, oh, I know, good sneezes, then you may find that at certain points, if you only wait for her to start getting lost and then try to work the skill, try to think about practicing this before you need it. So if company coming over, you coming home is the hardest for her, I'd recommend that throughout the day when you've been with her for hours is all of a sudden practice coming in and out of the doorway. Practice getting a little excited and then doing a find it. So that way she can start to work it before she needs it. So ready? Ready? So we're just trying to get her a little excited and then right into a find it. So of course she's not doing any of the skills, but that's okay. So what I mean by that is sometimes you add movement and some excitement from your end. The puppy then feeds off of that, and then they start to want to jump or mouth or play. So she's doing a splendid job, whereas I've added more excitement. She's still like, oh well, and just trots around with me. If you're finding that's going amazing with you, as friends or company come over, remember to keep her on equipment. If you're finding that in the beginning, she wants to just go love them by, of course, pummeling them with attention. Remember that any skill your babe is working on, from good to bad from our perspective, is if the dog is able to practice something, they're rehearsing it and getting good at it. So if there's certain skills that we're not a huge fan of, try to, for your best ability, for her too, is to prevent the rehearsal of those unwanted skills. So management is a really big helper for when you're first starting up, learning new skills for her to do instead to replace the original behavior. But we want her to think about, again, working something that maybe comes easy, which could be these movement behaviors. I will want to work with her a little bit with going to a place and working a bit with settle and maybe relaxation. She's like, those are some funny noises. So because if, let's say, your babe can only really relax when they're finally pooped out, then they're never really working on trying to get to that relaxation sort of feel when you've asked for it. So this doesn't mean we're going to force her into situations, but we want to see if we can start to get her feeling cozy, targeting a spot, and then practicing throughout the day, going and relaxing on that visual target, which could be a dog bed, a blanket, a particular carpet, within your home, whatever you have available. So, but we'll give her a little breather from that. And then I want to do a little bit with some play. So with her toy. So remember, like, oh, she's like, yes, ma'am. So if your babe is rather toy driven, ready, take it. We want to practice, because I know she's a toy girl, is practice getting your puppy to, she's like, I've almost caught it. There you go, madam, is to practice that on off switch. So if already just getting excited by seeing the toy and she's doing a good job tugging, wild woman, I want her to think that play is another great venue for practice. Ready? We're going to go into a little drop it and feed for that. Then we're going to go right back into grabbing. So you'll see that again, right now, just as we're warming up, I don't really care if right now we're just working take it and drop it. It's kind of more on her level. Oh my gosh, chewing and frolicking is hard. There we go. So again, the toy is alive when we want to play. Sorry, my little one's singing. So while it's alive, the toy is wiggling. When we want her to let go, I'm going to, again, hold it limp, but not, again, wiggle it, because the wiggle is going to mean we're still playing. Ready? We'll get a little sit. She's like, my brain melted. Yes, and then take it. So I like to sometimes work a little bit with getting them to hone in on either settling with all four on the floor or with getting a little sit, whatever they can tolerate. She's like, I've almost grabbed it. You got to grab the target, madam. There we go. Then I like to, as she's grabbing it and playing with it, get her to see if we can practice the drop or out or give. So again, ready? Drop. Yes. So right now, I'm just offering food for letting go. She, of course, forgets to chew in between the reps. You got it? Yeah, I know. You got one ear up, one ear down. So again, tug is not going to create a aggressive dog or a dog that's trying to dominate you. There's a lot of misconception with play with your dog, which is kind of a bummer. Oh my goodness. Because the benefit of obviously playing with your puppy is it can create a really nice rapport with you and your babe, but it also works on all those behaviors we're typically having trouble with. Over arousal, coming back from that excitement. She's like, greatest day ever. Ready? And if, let's say, she gets really excited, I like going into a find it if dropping and letting go of the toy is too hard. Then let her simmer for a minute, then get maybe another little check-in. Maybe she does all four on the floor. Maybe she does a nice little check-in with some eye contact, or she offers a sit. And then we can go right back into playing. So, but this is a great way to create that on-off switch. Play can also be, she's a wild woman. Play can also be a great option for when you're practicing in those outdoor zones. Because I know you had mentioned sometimes she'll play with certain things, but then other times her ability to rein it in is kind of out the window. So remember, play can also be a great reinforcer to build up confidence and resilience in those novel spaces. So again, we might go, ready? She's like, no, I'm going to eat the whole handle. So ready? Drop. Yes, nice work. Ready? Find it. So if she's super toy driven, you can also use this as a way to hone her in for recalls, for reinforcement for loose leash walking. Let's say she's doing a great job checking in. Ready? So I like to use it as my target, kind of keep it towards my chest, and then work her with a little bit of loose leash walking without gear on is fine. And then as she does a really great job, I might say, what a good girl. And then she can go ahead and grab her toy. So play is a really great motivator for even working through your other skill set. So definitely make sure to rotate through both, because if she's very toy driven, she's like, I got it. Then you could use that as well. So nice drop. Good job. Ready with me? She's like, greatest day ever. Ready? So again, you could use this lovely toy to gain her attention. Start working through some of these lovely little skills. Ready, sit. Yes. And then play could be the reinforcer again versus the food. She's like, I've almost caught it. Nice job. But if, let's say, she gets really excited, ready, drop. Yes. I'd make it where you rotate through a bit of play and a little bit of some calmer skills. So you're, again, working that on-off switch, but all within her comfort range. If we were, let's say, playing to the point where she doesn't really have the ability to let go, or she doesn't quite know where to grab the toy, these would be things I would practice in calmer environments first, get her to be comfortable, knowing what it means to let go, and even do a find it if you find it's easier, and then get her in the rhythm of going from that excitement back into some softer skills. So we might go into a little sit, and then feed for that. You may even find maybe working some hand touches, working on eye contact. Just think about going from woohoo to more calm. And that doesn't mean that we would go and get upset or overwhelmed with her if she were to get a little too jazzed. Always just think again, when she's having a little bit of a moment where she's going a little bit too wild, she might be overtired, or we may have pushed her past her capabilities for where she's at for now. So just go short and sweet, keep it sort of easy and successful, and then gauge where she's doing well and where she might be not doing quite as well. And I know we mentioned, which great job for your homework, doing your sort of green, yellow, and red sort of bubbles, where we would gauge, what does she have an easiest time with, what sort of gets more into the yellow, like cautionary or not as well, and then red where she's not doing well at all or failing or is non-responsive. So it's helpful that I was given some of those skills that she has in each one of those sections so we can start practicing. But Miss S did amazing with some of this on-off sort of switch and working through excitement and then back from there. So nice job, cuteness. So give little Miss S a little breather. That was very nice, and we'll work a few more skills. Good job, cuteness.